could all these tariffs that we're actually hearing about and thinking about actually be good for someone in the housing market? We're going to talk about that, and you might be surprised at what I'm going to tell you. From deals for buyers in the near future to absolute profitability for sellers, we're going to cover it all. What's up, everybody? I'm Jeremy Kane with eXp Realty, living in the Denver suburbs, over on YouTube at JKCORealtor_ on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for following and doing all the things. While you're here, throw me a comment. Try to be nice and kind to everybody. I was having a conversation recently with a lending partner of mine, and we had a conversation. The truth is, we're not truly on the same side of the aisle, and believe it or not, like, no one got hurt, no one, nothing was thrown. We just had a really good conversation about what was going on. So if you're down with that, you can hop in the comments, be kind to people, or I'll kick you out because it's my birthday and you can't be mean to people anyways. But let's kind of get rolling on this. So first things first, what is a tariff? A tariff is basically a tax on a product that is shipped across the border. Now, I'm also buying a car currently, and I was talking to my car, broker, and he was talking about how many times the actual car is crossing the border. He was referring to a lot of the cars being made and manufactured in Mexico now, and it's 5 to 10 times before a car is even ready for sale that it's coming here. So pretty crazy when you think about what this could mean. But essentially, a tariff is a tax imposed from other countries, paid by importing countries, and often passed to consumers. So that's the big hubbub. Everything's going to go to the consumer. Everything's going to get more expensive. We've seen gasoline, we've seen lumber, we've seen, all the things that people are talking about is how this is going to drive the cost of everything up, having inflation paired with a slow economy. That's called stagflation. But we are going to just get the full story as it pertains to the real estate market before we go any further with this. So obviously, if Canada is our number one supplier of lumber, new home sales is the first thing that comes to mind, right? From lumber to steel to all the things that are involved in a home being built is the product itself, right? And as far as labor, we know the labor shortage, we know, kind of what's going on with all of that. So on top of the labor shortage, we're adding on, some higher costs. Well, let's think back to when, we did have higher costs on lumber during COVID. And the home builders could not keep up with the, demand at that time because we're in such a crazy market with the low interest rates and all of that. However, now that the buyer demand has slowed down a little bit, could this increase that's being passed on to the consumer have an issue? Certainly. And will it be harder for builders to kind of keep pace with these, tariffs that are in play? Yes. Will they build less? Yes. Do they already have a labor shortage? Yes. So what we're seeing here is new home sales could be affected drastically, kind of like everyone is talking about across all other industries, but new home builds could be slowed down. They couldn't, some of the incentives that are offered could not be not be enough, to offset some of the higher costs and that kind of stuff. So that leaves us with new home sales being a little bit muted, I would assume, if any of these tariffs ever did come into play, coupled with low labor, all the things. And, that's going to be a thing, right? And so instead of the new home sales being kind of the sexy market that everyone's running to because they can buy mortgages in billions of dollars and then sell them at lower interest rates because, of how many they bought and pre-purchased, now we have existing home sales, right? This is where people are going to gravitate towards. People are still going to be moving. People are still going to be doing the things. While we saw an absolute, bottom out of the active, the home sales overall, last year, I think people are starting to get that. The economy's moving a little bit. We'll see how it affects these tariffs, but my phone has definitely been ringing But these tariffs could be a solution to a video that I recorded not too long ago. If there's less homes being built because they're costing more and all the things, then that's going to drive all the buyers into, or most of the buyers into, the existing home sales. And when that happens, we're going to see competition, which will then lead to higher prices in that arena, right? What could this mean for some of those people that are calling me, saying they don't want to live in this place or that place, that they bought 2 years ago? And I did a whole Why Invest Wednesday on this a couple weeks ago, right? Where people were kind of breaking even. And did we have time to wait? Well, the time to wait might be right here when these tariffs come in, because if that has a trickle-down effect on the new home production, we are going to see people coming into, and more people and more competition. And as we know, more competition drives the prices higher and higher. And so this is absolutely something that we need to keep an eye on for sure, because if more buyers are in the existing home sales, that might drive prices a little bit, might give people just enough to exit, that home that they're not necessarily super excited about. So as we see, if the construction costs are going up, right, we'll see that already, right? A couple stats from Nicole's blog that she wrote. In 2022, the average new home sales price was $644,750, with 61% of that covering the construction costs. 2024, the average sales price increased to $665,298, but construction costs rose to $428,215, a 9.2% jump. Right, so we're almost at 70% already as it is. Add these tariffs on, and we'll see how that goes. The builders aren't going to keep that gap, at that minimum for much longer. So if it does shift that way, and if those tariffs are coming, what does that mean? Right, for existing home sellers, you might be just where you need to be. Right, you might get that bump that you've been waiting for, because now the new home sales are going to slow down because of the tariffs and all the things. And when we start pushing forward, right, the new home sales aren't going to be as desirable. So the existing home sales for the seller are going to be great. But builders are a volume business. I will tell you that probably over the next, 3 months, if these tariffs come, if they don't, I would imagine that builders will be absolutely fire sailing the things that they have, because they need to hit so many units and they need to do all of this. So before the demand leaves the new home sales, we could see a little bit of a drive over there, because they're going to be trying to offload everything they possibly can so that they can get as many new homes built in the time frame that they need. So before the tariffs come and all the things. So I would suggest that if you are one of those people that absolutely loves new homes, you have, maybe you're looking at moving into a new home, it sounds good for you, all the things, keep an eye on what's going on in those places. Start with me, call me. I will definitely lock down those, communities you're looking in, and we can definitely start the conversation as far as that goes, because you may have an opportunity, and I think the opportunity will be a short 3 to 6 month window, which will be relatively soon. And if these tariffs do actually come into play, that could have, a major effect on them trying to push as many as they possibly can. And if you're a seller, the existing home sales, I think that we will see, even based on fear alone, the headlines alone, people kind of starting to think about that as an opportunity as well. Because if you move into a new home and then prices start falling or prices stagnate, you could have better opportunities depending on how long you want to be in that home on the existing home sales side. So certainly something to think about. So just as an aside, I'm in a real estate group, a global real estate group, and I've talked to my buddies up in Canada. I have a ton of great friends in the real estate world in Canada. So if you're there, you need me to find you the best realtor, definitely do that. But they are ultimately like, obviously the Canadian dollar took a dive and all the things, and they're very concerned about that. So we'll see, if the US government gets what they want from Canada and they do the things that we're asking them to do, we'll see how that that plays a role. But I do know that the Canadian, agents that I talk to are not super excited. But they also don't blame the U.S. They don't blame what's going on. But that's kind of the report from up north. So from boots on the ground, what's this mean? Certainly, if you are looking to make a move, there's a lot of strategy and stuff that can come into play based on these tariffs. We can have a conversation. At the end of the day, is it going to have a massive effect on exactly what's going on? Probably not. You will have all of your, it will affect a certain amount of people. But if we can make a strategy and we plan and you have the time, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you're looking to do, what moves you're looking to make, and then we can make those plans come to fruition. Right? I'm not cheering for tariffs in any stretch of the imagination. I don't want to go down the political road with you. I think they are being used for a very strategic purpose. That was shown when Mexico sent 10,000 troops to the border, as a way for them to delay the 30-day tariffs. So I think that it's, kind of a political chess match that's going on. So don't think that I'm all for it or all against it. I'll be indifferent here at least. And so we'll go from there. But if we are so caught up in the tariffs being terrible and the tariffs being bad, I'm the type that wants to step back and at least look at some positives. The positives is this could drive existing home sales, which for me as a real estate agent is certainly better than new home sales, because sometimes, people just go straight to the builders and get kind of a run around there. So certainly good for real estate agents if the existing home sales do increase. Certainly good for sellers that were kind of in that flat line area, looking to make a move. And the opportunity may be right now for buyers to kind of scoop up some of the stuff while we, sit and wait to see what happens. So hope this helps. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.